Okay, so we discussed the chemistry of lipids. So this slide summarizes your previous class. Okay, so once we consume lipid, okay, so it undergoes breakdown and it is absorbed into the blood as lipoproteins. Okay, so these lipoproteins are utilized in various angles. So one is it is stored as an energy reserve. So they are they can be synthesized from carbohydrates and proteins. They can be oxidized for energy. They can be converted to brain and nerve tissues. They can be excreted in feces. Excess can be excreted in the feces, and these are stored as these lipids are stored as adipose tissue, and these are good insulating agents. They form myelin sheath, and they support vital organs, and they generate heat. Okay, so these are the functions of lipid. Okay, so this is the metabolic pathway of lipid. What happens to the lipid we consume means, so these are the things that happens. Okay, so today's class, our focus is okay, in today's class, our focus is how lipids are oxidized to generate energy. Okay, so the first thing is fatty acids. So they are highly efficient in storing energy. Okay, so they deliver more energy per gram than carbohydrates like glucose. Okay, so these lipids are more efficient in providing energy. Okay, so in tissues with high energy requirement, such as heart, up to 50 to 70% of the energy that is generated in the form of ATP comes from fatty acids. Okay, that is fatty acid oxidation. So what we call it as beta oxidation. Okay, so during this fatty acid beta oxidation, long chain acyl CoA, that is fatty acid molecules, the main components of fatty acids are broken down to acetyl CoA molecules. These acetyl CoA molecules can further enter TCA cycle and generate more ATPs. Okay. So what happens to the triglycerides or the lipids or the fats we eat? Okay. So how they provide energy. So our main goal is to discuss how these fats provide energy or generate ATP. Okay, and how much of ATP is generated. So that is the objective of today's class. So once you consume the food, what happens? It reaches the intestine, and from in intestine, these you know that lipids are like fatty acids or triglycerides are triesters of fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, so by the action of pancreatic lipase, they break down the fatty acid and glycerol. So they release fatty acid, two molecules of fatty acid from triglycerides, and monoacyl glycerol is formed. Okay, so these monoacyl glycerol and two fatty acids, again they combine in the epithelial cells and they form triglycerides. Okay, so these triglycerides will combine with the protein and they'll form lipoproteins. Okay, so these lipoproteins are called as chylomicrons. Okay, so these chylomicrons will pass through this, they are reabsorbed from the intestine and they enter the lymphatic system and then the bloodstream, and then they reach the cells. In cells, again they are broken down into glycerol and fatty acids, and these fatty acids can undergo further metabolism. So today our focus is on like how these fatty acids generate energy derived from lipids. They generate energy. Okay, so most important pathway is fatty acid beta oxidation. Okay, so the objectives of today's specific learning objectives are, like at the end of this class, you should be able to define what is beta oxidation, recall different steps in beta oxidation, explain reaction steps in beta oxidation, recall reactions of beta oxidation, and explain energetics of beta oxidation. Okay, so we will begin with a brief introduction to beta oxidation.
Bye.
So beta oxidation is the oxidation of beta carbon of fatty acid to carbonyl group. Okay, so here the beta carbon is oxidized. What is a beta carbon, that we will look into in the upcoming slides. Okay, so it is a catabolic process by which the fatty acid molecules are broken down to generate acetyl-CoA, NADH and FADH. Okay, so they generate acetyl-CoA that can enter the TCA cycle, NADH and FADH2 can enter electron transport chain to generate ATP. Okay, so the acetyl-CoA generated will enter citric acid cycle. Okay, so the acetyl-CoA that is generated will enter the citric acid cycle, and NADH2 and FADH2 will act as coenzymes of electron transport chain where ATP is generated. Okay, beta oxidation occurs in cytosol, that is in the cytoplasm in prokaryotes, and in mitochondria in eukaryotes. Okay. So, and one more very important fact is brain erythrocytes and adrenal medulla cannot utilize fatty acids for energy. So, they completely rely on glucose for energy. Okay. So, they completely rely on glucose. So, that is why deficiency in utilization of glucose is very, very fatal. Okay, what are the different steps in beta oxidation? So the first step is activation of fatty acid by esterification with the coenzyme A. Okay, then the transport of this fatty acyl-CoA esters to the required area, that is cytoplasm, and then this carbon backbone reaction sequence, then the major beta oxidation reactions occur here. So there are four major reactions that happen. One is dehydrogenation, that is oxidation, hydration, addition of water, again dehydrogenation, then the breakdown, that is the release of acetyl-CoA, that is called as a thiolase reaction. Bold dalo. अंदर डाले के ग्लास पानी देखो. Okay, so the next thing is activation of fatty acids. How these fatty acids are activated? Okay, fatty acids are activated to acetyl-CoA by the enzyme thiokinases or acyl-CoA synthesis. This happens in two steps, and it happens on the mitochondrial membrane. Okay, it happens on the mitochondrial membrane. So this happens in two steps. So first, the fatty acid combines with ATP to form acyl adenylate. ATP will transfer AMP to the fatty acid group, and this acyl adenylate will react with coenzyme A to form acyl-CoA, that is SCOA group of coenzyme A is going to combine with the fatty acid. Okay, so this is the first step of beta oxidation, that is activation of fatty acids. Okay, so this reaction happens in two steps, that is it requires ATP, coenzyme A and magnesium ion as cofactor. Okay, so the inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to fatty acid. Okay, so here the next step is this transport of acetyl-CoA into mitochondrial matrix. The inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to fatty acids. the carnitine carries the long chain activated fatty acids into the mitochondrial matrix by a specialized system known as carnitine shuttle, or what we call it as carnitine carrier system. Okay. So this is the carnitine carrier system. In carnitine shuttle, what happens is carnitine combines with acyl CoA that is formed, and it will form acyl carnitine. Okay, so this acyl carnitine by a specialized carrier protein is transported across the mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so that is by the help of a translocase carrier protein. So it is transported across as a mitochondrial matrix, that is inner side of the mitochondrial matrix. And here this acyl carnitine is again converted back to carnitine, and it releases acetyl CoA on the inner side of the acyl CoA, that is fatty acyl CoA on the inner side of the mitochondria, and carnitine moves out of the mitochondrial membrane so that it can combine with one more molecule of acyl CoA. So this is called as carnitine shuttle. Okay, so carnitine shuttle occurs in 4 steps. So here 2 enzymes are required. One is carnitine acyl transferase 1 that is present on the outer surface of the inner mitochondrial membrane. So this catalyzes the transfer of acyl group of acyl CoA to carnitine. So it will form acyl carnitine, that is carnitine acyl transferase. So the second step is the acyl carnitine is transported across the mitochondrial matrix by the special carrier protein, that is translocase. So inside the mitochondrial membrane, so the carnitine acyl transferase that is present on the inner surface of the mitochondrial membrane, so that will convert the acyl carnitine to acyl CoA. So the carnitine returns to the cytoplasm for reuse. Okay. So the third step, that is fatty acid beta oxidation. Okay, the third step is fatty acid beta oxidation, that is carbon backbone reaction sequence. So there are 4 reactions: dehydration, dehydrogenation, hydration, and again dehydrogenation, and carbon-carbon cleavage, that is the release of acetyl CoA. So first is removal of hydrogens, so that will create a double bond. Then you add a water molecule. Then again you remove hydrogen, and then carbon-carbon cleavage, that is the release of acetyl CoA molecule from acyl CoA. Okay. So the first step is dehydrogenation. So oxidation to trans deltas to acyl CoA. So what does this delta 2 means? Delta 2 means this delta denotes the position of the double bond in an alkene. Okay. So 2 means the double bond is starting from the second carbon atom. Okay, so now if you start the numbering according to IUPAC system, so the numbering should begin from carbonyl carbon. So this is the first carbon, and this is the second carbon, this is the third carbon, this is the fourth carbon. So the double bond is beginning at second carbon here in this reaction. So that is why it is called as a acyl trans delta 2. Delta 2 means it is the position of the double bond that is created. Okay, so this is a dehydrogenation reaction. So it is an elimination reaction. In an elimination reaction, a double bond is created. Okay, so why it is called as a beta oxidation? Because so there is one more system of numbering where we are going to use alpha, beta, delta, gamma to denote the position of the carbons with respect to the functional group. So here the functional group is carbonyl carbon. So the carbon next to carbonyl carbon is considered as alpha carbon. The carbon next to alpha carbon is called as beta carbon. So here we are going to create, or we are going to remove these hydrogens on the beta carbon and add oxygen, C double bond O. Carbonyl carbon is created over here. So that is why it is called as beta oxidation. Okay. So in the first step we are going to remove these 2 hydrogens, and so that is acyl CoA is converted to trans delta to acyl CoA. So the reaction is catalyzed by acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. This reaction is catalyzed by acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. Here FAD is converted to FADH2. It will take up the hydrogens that are removed, and this FADH2 will enter electron transport chain and generate 2 ATPs. Okay, 2 ATPs. So this reaction removes hydrogens from alpha and beta carbon and forms a trans carbon-carbon double bond. So here. So along with that, it reduces FAD to FADH2. Okay. So in the second step, you are going to add water. Again, the water that is HOH is added, hydrogen is added to alpha carbon, and hydroxyl group of the water molecule is added to beta carbon. So here, the alpha carbon is converted to CH2 and beta carbon is converted to CHOH. So trans delta 2 enol CoA. So we are going to remove this double bond and add water molecule. So first step is elimination reaction. Second step is addition reaction. So here L3 hydroxyacyl CoA is formed. Okay. L denotes stereochemistry. So here the enzyme required is enoyl CoA hydratase. So it adds water across the carbon-carbon double bond. It forms hydroxyl group on the beta carbon. Okay. So the third step is oxidation to 3-keto-acyl CoA. Okay. So the third step is oxidation to 3-keto-acyl CoA. Again, you're going to remove 2 hydrogens, and here in this case, both the hydrogens are removed from the beta carbon atom. Both the hydrogens are removed from the beta carbon atom. So here, so L3 hydroxyacyl CoA is converted to 3-keto-acyl CoA. So here beta hydroxyacyl CoA dehydrogenase enzyme will catalyze this reaction. So this time the hydrogens are taken up by NAD, and NAD is converted to NADH2, and this enters electron transport chain, and it will form 3 ATPs. It will form 3 ATPs. Okay. So here in this step, the hydroxyl group is oxidized. So 2 hydrogens are removed. It will create an keto group over here on the beta carbon atom. Okay. Finally, so in every cycle of beta oxidation, so one molecule of acetyl CoA is eliminated or formed. So here acetyl CoA is CH3COS-CoA. That is 2 carbon unit along with coenzyme A bonded with coenzyme A is eliminated from the fatty acyl CoA molecule, and that acetyl CoA enters electron transport chain. So the last step is thiolysis. What we call it as thiolysis is a release of acetyl CoA molecule. So here the enzyme that is used for catalysis is acyl CoA acetyl transferase. The enzyme that is used for catalysis is acyl CoA acetyl transferase. So here the acetyl CoA is cleaved by splitting. So there is a spelling mistake here. It should be acetyl CoA. Here this should be acetyl CoA. Okay. So here the acetyl CoA is cleaved by splitting the bond between the alpha and beta carbons to form a new acyl CoA which contains 2 carbons less than its parent acyl CoA, and acetyl-CoA is formed. This acetyl-CoA can enter electron transport chain, or it can undergo gluconeogenesis, whatever is required by the body. We consider it to be moving into what we call it as a TCA cycle, where it can generate ATP. Okay. The acetyl-CoA enters TCA cycle, and the new acyl-CoA contains 2 carbons less than the original acyl-CoA. Okay, so the new acyl-CoA will re-enter beta oxidation cycle one more. So this will again start from the beta oxidation cycle. That is, it will again undergo dehydrogenation, then hydration, then again dehydrogenation, then again thiolysis, until all the carbons are exhausted. Okay, so the process continues till the fatty acid is completely oxidized. Okay, so we'll take an example of beta oxidation, and we will look into this beta oxidation pathway. Okay, we'll take an example of beta oxidation and we'll look into the beta oxidation pathway. Okay, so we'll take palmitate as an example. So palmitate is an 16 carbon containing fatty acid. It is widely present in the food we consume, and this has 16 carbons, and it will undergo 7 cycles of beta oxidation, and it generates 8 acetyl-CoA. Okay, so we will see like how it undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation and how it generates 8 acetyl-CoA molecules. Okay, so this is the structure of palmitate or palmitic acid. So here it contains 16 carbon atoms, and so this is the acidic group, carboxylic acid group. So the first step is activation. So palmitate is converted to palmitoyl-CoA by the action of COASH will transfer the coenzyme A group. Here it requires ATP. It consumes 1 molecule of ATP. ATP is converted to AMP plus PPI. It requires magnesium. The enzyme is catalyzed by thiokinase enzyme. So palmitate is converted to palmitoyl-CoA. Okay, the palmitoyl-CoA is then transported into the mitochondrial matrix. The inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to fatty acids, as you know. So then what happens? The carnitine shuttle. Okay, the carnitine will carry the palmitoyl-CoA into the mitochondrial matrix by carnitine shuttle. So here we discuss the carnitine shuttle. So carnitine is converted to acyl carnitine by the action of the enzyme carnitine acyl transferase 1, and then this is transported across the membrane as acyl carnitine. Then by as carnitine acyl transferase 2 will convert by the help of translocase, a specialized carrier protein, and then carnitine acyl transferase 2 will convert the carnitine, that is acyl carnitine, into carnitine and acyl-CoA, and carnitine will move out of the inner mitochondrial matrix, and palmitoyl-CoA is ready for beta oxidation. Okay, so this is the overall pathway of beta oxidation of palmitic acid. So palmitate is converted to palmitoyl-CoA. Then the palmitoyl-CoA enters the inner mitochondrial matrix. So then acyl-CoA dehydrogenase. By the action of acyl-CoA dehydrogenase, a double bond is created over here, and then that is hydration, addition of water by the action of enol-CoA hydratase. You are going to add hydroxyl group at the beta carbon atom and the hydrogen at the alpha carbon atom. So then again dehydrogenation. So this time both the hydrogens are removed from the beta carbon atom. So this hydrogen and this hydrogen is removed. A carbonyl carbon, a keto group is formed over here. Okay, so in the next step, the final step, what happens? So there is a cleavage of this 2 carbon unit acetyl CoA from the palmitoyl CoA, and the resulting palmitoyl CoA contains 2 carbons less. Initially it contains 16 carbon unit, so then after one cycle of beta oxidation it is containing 40. Okay, so here you have 14 carbon unit molecule. Okay, after 14 carbon units, so then again, so this is the first cycle, then again it will undergo, so then this 14 carbon unit, again it will come from the first step, and again it will undergo beta oxidation, and again it will release one more acetyl CoA molecule, that is it will undergo dehydrogenation, then hydration, again dehydrogenation, then thiolase reaction, that is release of acetyl CoA, then again it will undergo, so similarly it will undergo 1 2 3 4 5 6 and previous cycles 7 cycles of beta oxidation. So finally in the end it will release 2 beta oxidation molecules, so it is going to release 8 acetyl CoA molecules. Okay, so beta oxidation, so energetics of beta oxidation. So the first step is oxidation. For one molecule of any fatty acid, the activation required is only once, and it consumes 2 ATPs. For activation, it requires 2 ATP molecule. Okay, one cycle of beta oxidation of fatty acid, it will produce 1 NADH, that is 3 ATPs, 1 FADH2, 2 ATPs, and 1 acetyl CoA molecules, that is 12 ATPs. Okay, per cycle of beta oxidation, it requires 2 ATPs and it generates 12 ATP molecules. So depending upon the length of the fatty acid that undergoes beta oxidation, we can, just by looking at the structure, we can calculate how many acetyl CoA molecules it can generate. Okay, so here there is a formula, like number of acetyl CoA that is generated is exactly half to that of the number of carbons that the fatty acid it is having. So acetyl CoA number generated is C by 2, and beta oxidation is 1 less than the half of the number of carbon atom, that is C by 2 minus 1. Like for example, if you are having 12 carbon containing fatty acid, saturated fatty acid, it will undergo, that is it will produce 6 acetyl CoA molecules, and it undergoes 5 cycles of beta oxidation, because at the end it produces 2 acetyl CoA molecules. If it is having 14, then it forms 7 acetyl CoA molecules, and 5, it undergoes 6 beta oxidation cycles. If it is having 16 carbon in fatty acids, it produces 8 acetyl CoA molecules, it undergoes 7 cycles of beta oxidation. 18, 9 acetyl CoA molecules, and 8 cycles of beta oxidation. Okay, what we discussed just now is beta oxidation of saturated fatty acids. Okay, so it is beta oxidation of saturated fatty acids. Unsaturated fatty acids is not mentioned in your syllabus, so that is why we will not be discussing about it. So in unsaturated fatty acids, there is one extra step, that is there will be shifting of double bond whenever the functional groups goes near the double bond. So that we will not be discussing here. Okay, so the energetics of beta oxidation of palmitic acid. Okay, so activation of palmitic acid requires 2 ATPs. 8 acetyl CoA molecules are generated. So 8 acetyl CoA molecules, when they enter TCA cycle, they produce 96 ATPs. 7 oxidation cycles, they produce 7 NADH and 7 FADH2. So from 7 NADH, so it produces 21 ATPs. From 7 FADH2, it produces 14 ATPs. So total net gain is, that is total ATP formed is 131. and utilized is 2 ATPs. So here the total generation of ATP is 129 ATPs are generated from palmitic acid. Okay, so this is practice and repetitions based over a longer period. It will facilitate a transfer to long-term memory. So what